broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
The animal is trapped, trapped, trapped till the cage is full. The cage is full, the dirt is new. Everyone's waiting, waiting on you, and you've got time.
Okay, I'll stop.
Oh my gosh, I really tried to be in our last show. I just felt my lung capacity sucks, man. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the final episode of Season 3's recap of Orange is the New Black right here on AfterBuzz TV.
Here.
I am one of your hosts, Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and I'm joined by my two lovely co-hosts. I absolutely am so sad that I won't be seeing you.
I know, right? Hey guys, I'm Sterling. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates.
And I'm Scott Moore, and you can find me on Twitter at SMan80. That's SMN80.
Yes, and if you have any comments, let us know. We are looking at your tweets live right now. Use the hashtag ABTVOITNB, and we might just shout you out live on the show. Okay, so let's recap the season finale. Season 3 finale, episode 13. Trust no beep. I'm trying not to curse. I'm trying to clean my life up.
Trust no bitch.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Say it. Say it. Okay, so let's talk about your thoughts. What do you guys think? Just your initial reaction. You watched the final episode. What did you think?
There is just so much to take in. I watched it one time, then I watched it a second time. I was like, oh my God, I completely forgot about that. I felt like it was 2 weeks ago I watched that.
Right.
But I was telling you guys off air, it was a little hard for me to watch it 2 times through. I mean, first of all, it's 3 hours of my life. But second of all, like, you know, it just felt really long. And I think that maybe because we didn't get any closure with a lot of the characters, I don't know, as someone who loves the show, it wasn't exactly what I've loved about the show in the past.
Right. What about you, Scott?
I feel a lot of the same way that Sterling does, because again, you know, in seasons past we had a common kind of storyline that was being wrapped up at the end of each season, and we kind of knew what we were doing and starting fresh with a new season. And this one we had so many smaller B-plot storylines that were going on, and again,
which I didn't mind.
Which I don't mind either, which is great, because again, it's the strength of these characters. But on the flip side, like you were saying, Sterling, is it kind of leaves a lot up in the air now. We have a lot of characters that we didn't get closure on. We have a lot of storylines that didn't really get tied up, which in a lot of cases I like, but in this case it felt very kind of convoluted, and we have a lot left to wait to
It's going to make season 4 feel so far away.
Yes, now we have to wait so long.
But here's the thing. Okay, so the difference for me between season 2 and season 3, at the end of season 2, I was like, oh my God!
Right.
I cannot.
Exactly.
Like, I need to see the next episode. I have to wait a year. Like, that's how I felt. But then this episode, when I saw this, I was like, oh.
It didn't feel like a finale.
It didn't feel like a finale. It didn't have me, like, I'm not on pins and needles waiting for the next season. I definitely want to see the next season, but I'm not, like, as excited or like, oh my gosh, as I was for the last season, which is a little disappointing because there was, you know, I wanted to have that same feeling. I want the same high that I got from season 2's ending that I'm not getting from this one. So I was a little disappointed about that, but I loved how they went through so many people's background stories.
That was
I love that.
There were a lot of really interesting moments. I did love the episode, but as a finale, I think that's where I was a little disappointed.
I agree. And I think, again, too, because each year we had either like a main villain or we had something that we were working towards. And this one we didn't have that as much. I mean, yes, there's some stuff still there, which we'll get into with Alex and things like that. But there wasn't this main thing that we were trying to get through to the end and watch it resolved we have a lot of smaller stories that we're working on instead in the season.
Perfect. Let's give a shout out right now. A couple of people that are on Twitter following us and watching us live. Shout out to St. Paloma 23 and Deborah Battle. They've been hanging out with us this entire season.
They have.
Hey guys.
Yes.
Yes, make sure you tweet us your comments and your questions. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about this episode. It started off with Boo and Pennsatucky running into the movie night.
Right.
After, the last episode they left off with they were trying to decide if they were going to broomstick rape Coates or not.
Yeah.
And we find out that they did it. And Pennsatucky obviously feels good that she didn't do that. She's like, I don't want to be a rapist too.
I really liked that about Pennsatucky, that she's, mature enough to figure out that just by doing what he did to her, essentially, isn't going to solve it or make her feel better at all. When she says to Boo, she's like, we could be sitting here and hating ourselves too. And she's like, I'm not a rapist and I'm proud of it. I was like, there you go. There's better ways to, get back at it. But
absolutely.
And then we see that, she has to, there's still a problem of her being in the van with CO Coates. And she decides to fake an epilepsy and it kind of damages the car. Was that the best choice for her? Or do you think there's some other action she could have taken?
I mean, I think there's always actions you can take, but where they are, there's just no justice is going to be served. I don't think if she went to Caputo or someone higher up that they would care. Which is really sad, but I think that, she had to take things.
I think Caputo would care.
I think he would have too. I don't think she realized that because of how what thin ice that Coates is on such thin ice that she's not aware of that. But I think with what they came up with, it was a good idea. It just didn't work out as well as she saw. Yeah. Because now instead she's out of the equation in the van, but now someone else is going to. Yes. So Maritza is now in there, and that's someone else, and it's basically the problem can continue to perpetuate.
Right. Exactly.
And as she realized, so it didn't work out in the big scheme of things.
Right. And I do like how her and Boo. I love their relationship. They're really good friends.
Yeah.
You see they have a lot of fun with each other, and they have each other's back. And I love how Boo says to her, like, who knew my cousin's epilepsy would benefit us in prison? Like, how funny is it? They're so cute.
They are.
And I also like how they're like, they felt some sadness when it came to Maritza now being the van driver.
Exactly. Right.
They felt her like, oh no, it wasn't like, well, not our problem anymore.
Exactly. Well, they realized they didn't really solve the problem. It was just pushing it onto someone else. But I do love their relationship because I feel like it brings out the best on both of their characters.
Yeah.
Like you get to see that side of Pennsatucky, but you also get to really see this really smart and warm and caring side of Boo as well. So I love their dynamic. It brings out the best in their characters.
Right. Let's talk about something else that happened. So Poussey also runs into the movie night. And if you remember last episode, she found Brooke Soso in the library. We thought she was dead. I said she was dead.
I thought she was dead.
And I was the one that said no, I didn't think she was.
You're such a smarty pants.
Rub it in, why don't
Or you watched it already.
Yeah.
I did not.
Just kidding. Okay.
No. But as I had said to you guys before, I felt like it was going to be hard to end with that character like that because I felt like they had more that they could have done with her alive.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy to.
I thought that it would have been interesting to see what the aftermath of her dying would be.
Right. There's two different directions that definitely could have gone in, and you're right. There definitely could have been.
It's sad to say, but I think it would have been more exciting for me.
I think so too. Which is really sad.
Which is sad. I know. I didn't want her to die, but it probably would have been more interesting. Okay, so of course, Poussey goes to get Tasty because Tasty's like the mom now. Like, help me. What am I supposed to do? So her, Tasty, and Crazy Eye Suzanne decide to go check on Soso, and of course they find out she's not dead. She's just passed out from taking all of the drugs. I thought it was really, really cute and sweet how they're like, we don't want her to go to psych.
Yeah. Especially Suzanne knows that of anyone. She's like, I wouldn't even wish that on the people that work there.
Which is ironic.
Yeah. I love her so much.
Right. I love her character. Yeah. And of course, they take her to go vomit. Now that's love.
Yeah.
Sticking a finger down somebody's throat.
Yeah, and Tasty knows exactly what to do in this situation, which is a little concerning. But
right, but hey, all this stuff that you learn in your past seems to help.
And it is something that makes sense. It's like having your stomach pumped if you went to the hospital, if you swallowed too many pills. It's that same kind of theory.
Right.
Yeah.
And it works. And of course,
I love how Suzanne calls it sympathetic vomiting. That's definitely not it. You don't vomit because you feel bad for them. You vomit because
they're such good friends. They're such good friends. And then I just liked how, and then of course Suzanne's like, remove the drains, it makes it easier to clean. Like these girls, like the little stuff that they learn that sometimes people might be like, that's dysfunctional, you don't need that.
Yeah. Well, she's responsible for cleaning the bathroom.
Right.
So she gets it.
Knows.
Exactly.
It's going to clean. It's going to be easier.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, they're at the lunch table and they're discussing, and So is with them, and they've kind of taken her under their wing, which I love because now she has a group of friends indirectly,
right?
Yeah, which is what she's been wanting the whole time.
And yes, she's been welcomed in, and I love this entire episode with the way they've taken her in and really accepted her.
And we know Pia's lonely too. She always talks about it. So this is a great opportunity for them to be, whatever is happening between them.
Absolutely. And which I can definitely see there's going to probably be something. Yeah. We'll talk about that later, but it's probably something that's going to happen with those two.
Yeah.
And I loved how they were saying, like, when they had So with them, they're like, oh, we're Blasian now. Like, and then Suzanne goes, your skin doesn't have to be black for your heart to be black. Wait, what? That's the spirit, Suzanne.
Yeah.
That's the spirit.
That's right.
Do you guys want to be black today? Because your skin doesn't have to be black for you guys to be black.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right,
I want to be Blasian too.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys be Blasian. You might get pulled over. Unjustly.
I just want to be as beautiful as you.
Yeah. All right, but you still might get pulled over unjustly if you want to be in the black skin for the day, just so you know. I'm just playing with you guys. But so we also see that Cindy's at the table, and Janae's at the table, and they're all talking, and Cindy is still working on becoming a black Jew.
Yes.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising until, later in the episode when we see her kind of break down a little bit. But at first I was like, wow, she's really committed to this food situation.
Let's talk about that. Yeah. Because, first it started off with food, but then she found something, I think, deeper because she was searching for something.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And she found it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. It started out as just wanting to get those meals, and then it became an actual real thing for her, which was really cool to watch her progress and
transition.
Which I think is awesome for anyone to find who they feel are their people or their faith or whatever it is, no matter what.
And whatever it is, faith, whoever you are with gender identity, whatever it is, it's really cool to watch that person grow and accept
and be able to connect to something.
Yeah.
And in her flashbacks, we see that that's something that she's struggled with since she was way younger, coming from a really religious Christian family, and never really connecting with that. But now she feels like as she's actually learning about, the Jewish faith, that she's connecting with it. She's like, I found my people.
Yeah, sort of connecting with it that really means something rather than being forced. And
there's a difference between doing it voluntarily and being forced. But also I think there's a difference between sometimes like when you are raised a certain way, that's just all you know. Right. And you never really learn the specifics or why exactly you're that way. Yeah. So I think that's a beautiful thing about becoming whatever your faith is and actually learning what you're doing as opposed to just doing it because you were told to.
Right, going through the motions of it.
Right. And I love how she calls the rabbi back to say, to finally become Jewish.
Yeah. I was like, what am I doing here?
Yeah. She's like so prepared. And it was really that moment when she cried about it and she was like, I found my people. This is it. Yeah. I love how her character has evolved because, you see in season 1, season 2, she's just kind of like, whatever, I don't really care. I got a kid. That's my little sister. I don't take care of her or whatever. Yeah. You kind of see her all over the place, and then now you see a more focused Cindy. And so I think season 4 is going to be amazing to see how she has transitioned from being a whatever kind of girl to I am Black Cindy's Jew of the I'm super Jew. You know what I mean? I love it. Also, we'll talk about Janae because Janae was at the table.
Yeah.
And her flashback, which is, we've seen in the past that she was a track runner. Yeah. She loves running. And we see that her family, she grew up Muslim, so Nation of Islam. And her dad didn't want her to run because it's a whorish outfit.
Yeah.
So I never thought about it. I
know. She's like, he's like, you look like a common whore, half naked, running out.
You know it'll pay for college.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then she felt like she wasn't, she didn't want to be a part of the Nation of Islam. There's one thing that I noticed about everyone's flashes. So let's talk about that because as I went through, I didn't pick it up until maybe halfway through, but everyone's flash had to do with some kind of religion or belief.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was the common thread.
But here's the thing I wanted to say because as I looked at them, as a group, it seemed like the main topic was like there is no God, there's no Jesus, there's no Christianity. It was one of those three.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's very interesting. And so the question I have is, because as I saw this, I was like, oh, okay, so I guess this has to do with some kind of storyline.
Right.
But it never... Like there was
never like this is why we're doing that. Like even with the the storylines that are going on in the prison. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a little weird.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's I kind of felt like there were a lot of loose ends that they're gonna have to pick up in the next season, because then you just got a little tiny thing again with So-So, and you got a little it was like all these little glimpses without really going into detail.
When I saw that, and there was there was no ending to it. There was no culmination of this is the reason why. Because usually we'll see people's flashes and it has to do with the story.
Right, and why they are where they are, or why they behave the way they do.
So if that theory still applies to this episode, then it's like, are you saying because they don't believe in God, they ended up here? Like, what is the point of having these flashes that have nothing? All they say is no God, no Jesus, or no Christianity. And then it doesn't.
Right.
What does it have to do with the rest of the story?
It's
it's a little weird. It's almost like is this an agenda? Is this a negative evil attack?
No.
What is this?
I didn't take it as that much as, because it was sort of their kind of come to their spiritual moment at the end there with the lake, and to me that was sort of a culmination of this sort of religious theme,
right?
And they're all growing, and the Normites. There's a lot of like all those things to me that came together, but you're seeing these glimpses of the things they went through religious wise that affected maybe some of their decisions later. But to me, it culminated with that almost like that dream sequence to me had a religious undertone to me when I watched it.
Because I was trying to think like, okay, well maybe that has to do with the lake, but then even at that I was like, you'll see certain people's beliefs and what they went through had nothing to do with playing chicken in the lake or like just splashing it. Like I guess I was trying to make the connection, like what's the point?
Yeah.
Because there's always the writers are always very deliberate in what they do, whether it's talking about political stuff or something. There's always some connection. Right. So I'm like, wait, because this is not just happenstance. So I don't know. It was a little weird. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, I'd love to know what everyone thinks, because I know everyone's going to have opinions on that. But I did take it as that almost dream sequence at the end was sort of the culmination of that. And again, it was interesting because you usually don't focus on so many different people with their each little flashback, so that was different, but for the most part it was still little glimpses into people's behaviors. Like then I got to learn a little bit more Hewley, and there was all just little things, little glimpses, a little bit more in So-So with her mom and the controlling mom with the piano and the not cheating, and so a lot of it to me had overall tones of kind of religious undertones to me, and that culminated with the lake scene, because that was almost like a dream sequence to me at the end with the lake. Yeah, it felt like that to me. It kind of had that.
Oh, that would be good if they came back in season 4 with like people waking up like, oh. Well,
man. No, but it was, which we'll get into more into it, into like kind of the mythology and like symbolism and things like that it felt for me. But
okay, yeah, let's talk about. Of course, we see that So-So is, she is now back to her senses, and she goes to talk to Healy, and she tells him that he's really bad at his job, and I love it because first of all she's like a zombie. I guess that's what happens when
when you're over medicated there and you sedatives and
she hit him hard, and
first of all he didn't even notice that she's sitting there like.
No, he did. He was like, "Are you okay?" Or did they give you the right meds?
It's just like it takes a couple weeks to balance out. But then he was like not even asking her about her. He was asking her to give him like dirt on Birdie,
which is why she said he was so bad at his job, which is true. You didn't care once about this girl. You care more about taking someone's position away because they're threatening your position with these women. And she's so right. And I'm glad he felt horrible and bad. To where it like hit his conscience some. It should.
It should. It was really good because I think he kind of needed that, and it was nice that she did stand up and actually say that. Probably because she was sedated that she didn't really care what she was saying.
Every time we talk,
Very true. And then he goes home and he talks to his wife, and which is a very real moment. We don't get to see them too often, so whenever we see him, I'm always like, "Ooh, it's Healy and his wife." And he has a crying moment. He cries.
What was crazy to me about that scene, especially, is how he goes home and he's like, "I had a really good day," and his good day consisted of like giving this poor girl, something that she didn't need, giving her that prescription, but. That's beside the point. He wanted to tell his wife about it, I guess.
And then we see that he really is a good guy deep down inside, because she tells him that she wants her freedom when he asks her, what do you want? And his wife says, my freedom.
Right.
And it was really big of him, because he could have said, well, get out, get an apartment, see you later, divorce papers will be sent on their way. Right. He could have said that. But he said, get an apartment, I'll pay for it. I deal with captive women all day. I don't want my wife to be captive.
Yeah, that was
Did you notice that trapped in a cage thing?
Right.
Like the theme song got brought up several times in the episode too, which I also thought was interesting.
Right.
Because
Captivity.
he says that, and he said like trapped in a cage, and who else said that too? I have it written down too. I don't know if it was Suzanne, but somebody else had mentioned it too, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing too that they kind of played on as well in this last episode.
Right. And excuse me. And so he also. Oh, yeah. So he talks to Red about, does she think that he is bad at his job? Mm-hmm. And I love her response, because she's like, the fact that we have this special relationship should be your answer.
Not the best.
Right. You're probably not.
But she's like, you've helped me, though.
Right.
So.
Right.
Positive.
Right. And she said, I'm grateful, but she's like, I can't really comment on how you do your day-to-day job.
Right.
In essence, which was a good kind of diplomatic way of being honest, but also kind of diplomatic and not, being a total...
How Red has all these little separate relationships with everybody. Mm-hmm. She's cool with everyone. Red is she doesn't necessarily have a clique, but she's she floats between everyone.
Yeah.
That's cool.
For sure.
And she also gets asked by Healy to be a part of Lorna Morello's wedding.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Lorna.
Oh, God.
The last episode, or the 2 episodes before, we saw that Lorna had one of her prison pen pals, Vincent, go and beat up her ex, Christopher.
Right.
So now
which we never see
after that either. Yeah, like how bad it was or what's happened with that.
So I guess he didn't kill him. He just beat him up.
Yeah.
And then I was cracking up when they're having this conversation, and she has the ring, and she puts the ring on his finger.
Yeah, that was really cute, though.
It was funny because it was almost exactly what I thought was going to happen, where he was going to break up with her. Because he basically did. Yes. And then all of a sudden she comes back. Next thing I know, she's like proposing marriage to him, and he accepts. I was like, oh my God, they're so crazy.
You know what? I'm telling you, I think I'll just save it for predictions. No, I'm going to say it now because I probably forget. So I honestly think that he's going to be crazy. He's going to be the way she was with Christopher. I'm telling you, I feel it every time I see him.
Yeah, like he's going to be more than she is.
Stalk her. He's going to be going crazy. And she's going to be like,
what are you doing?
There's just something a little weird in general about meeting someone when they're in prison and doing prison dating.
Right. I get people, it happens where people get married and all that and blah, blah, blah. But I do think the way it happened and how quickly it happened, is he the crazier one out of the two? I don't know. I think so.
I think it is.
Happy right now, so that's good.
Happy right now, and we see in her flash too that she was at her communion.
Yeah,
and she was more
like
concerned
her first communion.
She's like, it's about the dress, honey.
Yeah, but it's all about the dress.
wedding.
So maybe that's just what the motive there was for getting married.
She's like, I don't want to eat I'm not eating the bread. That was great.
Yeah, I'll get that.
No carbs.
And I love how when she has the wedding and she has the toilet paper veil, which is amazing,
hilarious.
If you look, I was listening to both of their vows, and I thought it was really funny how his vows were like from the heart. Mm-hmm. It's like, as much as I'll be able to see you under these circumstances, whatever. That was really cute vows, and his were from his heart. Hers were just some song lyrics, but they weren't even that.
Yeah, love is the foreigner.
I was singing it.
Yeah, I was too the whole time she was doing it.
I was like, hey, those are pretty good vows. I didn't think
they were good vows. I was like, that's horrible. That's the song you chose because
it's his favorite band, Megan.
But she didn't even know that.
I know.
That was just a lucky guess.
But I didn't even know that.
I thought it was perfect for the fact that she doesn't really know him, so she's gonna just do the lyrics, generic.
And I love that Red is crying during her vows that are
God,
not even heartfelt.
Everyone's crying.
And then the unity candle. Oh, we can't light a unity candle because of prison stuff and because the bride's in a paper dress. So.
Right. Like, I think you were pointing out the obvious. No, but the lyrics, to me, it was just like, this clearly shows, that's why I'm saying I think he's going to be the crazy one, because you see how he's like made these connections with her, and he's never, like, they've seen each other a few times, but hers are general. I just want to know what love is, and I feel like when you get married to someone, you should know what love is. It shouldn't be like, I want you to show me what love is. But
he was going to break up with her, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think there's something going on here, and I think he's crazy.
Yeah.
He was going to break up with her, but I think it was because
the story, of course.
Right. he couldn't have sex with her. Remember, he was like, it's like a hole in my heart, and I see you. Like, it's basically like I can see you, but I can't touch you. Yeah. Where's this going?
Well, that's basically going to happen there on out because they don't really have conjugal visits. So they had that one time because they got married. But yeah, I mean, the lyrics I kind of take as like she wants him to show her what love is all about and all that, you know, like in the relationship, but it's going to be crazy. And also the wedding happened like 2 days later.
Right.
Like it was so fast too. Like, hello, let's have a long engagement.
I don't know.
Two crazy people. You don't know anything about his background. You don't know anything.
It's toxic. So it's scary.
All right.
It's weird.
Before it gets too late, I like that positive ending though that we get for this one.
Oh yes, their conjugal visit.
Yeah.
They got to consummate their marriage on a vending machine,
pretending she doesn't hear anything.
Right.
So funny.
I'm like, everyone can clearly hear. Right on the vending machine. You know, that's how you got to start your marriage.
Yep.
Let's talk about Norma. Norma and her followers, her Normaites.
Yeah, Normaites, yeah.
Normaites. They found her face on a piece of toast.
Which kind of looked like her, to be honest.
You know what? The first...
I was like, wait, that does kind of look like Norma.
Okay. You drank the Kool-Aid too, huh? Drank the Kool-Aid,
She would be the Normaite in prison.
Right. So yeah, at the very beginning though, they do talk about, Angie talks about her miracle, coming back from her miracle, which was she got released from prison and ended up coming back. People started to not really believe Norma's miracle powers.
Right.
And I love something that Angie says, and she was like, you know, this decision was worse than me smoking crack because I thought it was meth and having 4 shots of Everclear and eating cat poo.
I know.
Is it, Angie?
Wow, Angie, that's really bad.
Very specific, too.
Very specific. Don't ever share that with anyone ever again in your life. But of course, Leanne tells everyone to focus on the miracle and that, you know, we just need something that's dummy proof. So, of course, we see this toast. And they're like, it is Norma. I didn't see her face.
I know.
I mean, looked closely.
Yeah, it wasn't pronounced.
And I love how someone said it was like
in the top right.
Yeah.
How they were like in middle school. They were like, in middle school, like it's one of those 3D puzzles you get across your eyes.
Yeah, you have to really look at it and stare at it, and then you'll see it.
Right.
I just wanted to believe they're actually not that crazy.
Right.
You know,
they're so crazy. And then, of course, because of what happened with Soso, Pusey comes and tells them like they're all crazy for trying to follow her. They're wrong because Soso tried to kill herself. And I for sure thought this episode that Norma was gonna speak.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot, you know, for, you know, like, oh, the reason why she killed herself has to do completely opposite with what I'm trying to show people.
Right.
I even especially when Leanne was in her bunk, her dorm, her little bed area.
all we get from her is her kicking her out, which is
right. And I just knew she was gonna say out.
Right.
I was just like waiting and screaming.
Yeah. But she did.
Pointing.
I don't know. I'm falling off the Norma bandwagon.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not going to be part of that cult anymore?
Angie ate the toast. So.
Her magical powers. Yeah. That was hilarious.
Right. But yeah, I was a little sad she didn't get to talk because I felt like this was probably the episode she should have said.
I would have loved that in the end.
Right.
Finale. Yeah.
Yes. And then we also have Gloria, who's a little sad because we remember in the last few episodes that Sophia had some issues and she got put in shoot for her protection, which we find it was really because it was almost like punishment.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we don't want you going to tell on us, so we're going to protect you in the shoe.
Right. And Gloria's feeling real guilty.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though she didn't. Leda, right.
Yeah, it wasn't her that directly did anything, but if
she didn't do anything to stop it.
Exactly. Yeah. When you're passive, when somebody's getting mistreated, it might as well be an accessory to what's going on with them.
Right.
And she feels really bad, and I love how she goes to talk to the nun about it. She's like, I have a confession, you know, and it's crazy because the nun comes out and says, I have the same issue. Like, I also did not stick up for Sophia when I should have.
But she also said I'm her friend too, so you know, and I should have, and it's true. Like, she's really good friends with her.
Right.
One of her only real friends at this point in the prison.
Right. Oh, I'm so sad. So I was hoping they would let her out. Like,
I know. So that's again so many things.
Right.
Left out there.
And we also see Gloria's background. She was pregnant and she had the Latin voodoo put on her to change her baby from a girl to a boy.
Yeah, that was funny. That was fun to watch.
It was,
because she's like, oh, it's too late. We already know it's a girl, and then she's doing the ultrasound. She's like, oh, well, wait, we missed the.
Told you.
There it is. It happens, and it's actually a boy.
Right. Michael. I know some people are like, wait, how does that work? Because I'm trying to change the gender of my baby. All right, and so of course, Aleida, we were talking about Aleida. Let's talk about how her and Daya have this, great. I like how their relationship has ended because we see the very first episode of the very first season, she slaps Daya.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now we see the very last episode of the third season. They have they come. It's almost the start of a real mother-daughter relationship.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like a real loving one.
Well, it's the first time that Aleida's like, you're always going to need your daughter. She never really says it directly to Daya. She's like, even though, especially when you're in prison together. But she's saying, you're going to need your daughter. It's the best thing that's going to ever happen to you, even if they take all your money and ruin your life.
Yeah, she equates it to a drug, and in a lot of ways, it sort of is that way.
Right.
I mean, not trying to compare a baby to taking crack or something.
Oh, no, it is.
But in a way, it is. It's like, it's the type of love that's so intense, and you spend all your money on it, and it was a really it was fun the way that she compared it, and it was
and it's the first time she admits to Daya. She's like, I know that feeling you had when you held your baby in your arms,
right?
Because
and we saw that flash,
and we saw that flash before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of her way of telling Daya that she gets it, and she knew that she would want to keep it.
And she's right. She says, you were. I'm sure when you saw Cesar and your cousin instead of Mrs. Mendez, I'm sure you were a lot happier, and she was. And she said thank you. So I was really happy about that. Right. But it was sad. What happens to the baby?
Of course, I know.
The DEA raids Cesar's house. Why did they raid their house before all of this happened? So then they would have had to find another route for the baby.
Of course, because this is the way.
And also,
easy.
all of those kids,
right,
are shacked up in there.
Mm-hmm.
All of his kids, and of course they take the kids. So what's going to happen with all these kids?
I know, and that's the scary thing because they'll be in foster care. But the thing that's scary is would. In a lot of cases, because I've actually, not me personally, but I've worked with family members and stuff that were dealing with this, is that if the foster care and the child can end up going for adoption and go somewhere else completely.
And so here's what's going to happen.
Yeah. I know, it's almost like we have to go down the list.
Bennett is going to catch wind.
Yeah.
Hopefully, because we didn't see him.
Which is why did we not see him?
Well, I think we have to go through all that towards the end because we have a lot of holes to fill in, that were kind of left open at the end of this season. Thank goodness this wasn't a series finale, or it would have been like Dynasty. It was less shoulder pads, but it would have just ended with so many things up in the air and no closure. So this is almost like a two-parter here. It's like now they have to come with season 4 and really finish up what they started in season 3. As opposed to a clear and close and neatly tied up end of a season. You start over with a new thing, the new season. They didn't do that this year.
I know, and so now I'm like, what's going to happen to this baby? I really feel like there's going to be some kind of... I think Pornstash's mom is going to end up getting the baby.
I think Bennett will probably go in and have to prove his paternity and get the baby. Right?
But then he's going to get in trouble.
And then,
but I think at this point, isn't it too late?
He's already...
Well, I don't know, because it happened while he was... an employee.
Yeah, I don't know.
True.
Because there's they didn't know each other outside of those gates,
And we have not seen the last of Pornstash and his mom. I just, there's no reason, because that would have been pointless for them to just throw them in a little bit this season. So I feel like there's going to be some kind of, something's going to happen.
I hope so. I love Mary Steenburgen. I love her.
I love her too. What if she's like, so sad that she didn't get the baby, that she's like, I'll just be a foster mom and end up getting the baby anyway.
What if she was the one that called the DEA? It's like the whole Cooper thing. Like, she has so much power.
Right.
I know.
Okay, so let's talk about, of course, Flocka. So Flocka is back with Piper's panty crew. She wants to be back in because of what's going on with her mom.
Right.
And Piper lets her back in. And I thought she was sincere. I was like, oh, that's nice of her. I didn't think there was a negative
Piper is
agenda.
trying to put on this whole gangster front, and it is just not working for me. I just don't. I am not sold. But she's trying too hard. It's just I don't know. Well, it obviously doesn't come very naturally to her.
Obviously,
It's like she's just playing a game, though. It's not like this is real life.
Exactly. It's like she's really acting like, I'm going to act like a gangster.
Right.
Yeah. And Alex confronts her about it and says, that's really, first of all, it doesn't make sense. Like, she's really, this girl's going to play you.
She's just basically like, you're gross. This is like, what are you doing? Yeah. I mean, are you, and I guess something we can talk about towards the end too, but do you think in a way that Piper's going to start believing herself being badass so much that now she actually thinks it's really true and that she is some,
Absolutely.
like now she's getting to the point, because that's what it felt like as we continue with this episode, that now she thinks she's like the shiz.
Yeah,
like she's the.
When I actually laughed out loud in the scene where it's Flocka and Piper comes in and Gloria's there and Gloria's kind of backing up Flocka and she's like, okay, well, I'm sorry she's sick, and like you can see her kind of break down that front for a second, but then she's like, but don't mess with me.
Yeah, she had to keep reiterating that to everybody.
She's like, I'm sorry about your mom, and she's fed, but don't mess with me. And she's like, okay, pick which one you're gonna be, Piper.
Right, because at the end of the day, like nobody's really scared of you. You really don't have street cred. Let's just be all the way honest, okay? Someone can beat you up very easily, and nobody will back you
no
up.
No matter how many infinity tattoos you give yourself.
That's right, that you self give.
Oh my gosh. So of course, Flocka's back in. Piper goes to
with $1 less, right? Was it? What was the thing? She was getting paid less.
She's going to get paid less. She had to come back in because she's such a benevolent dictator.
Yes.
She let her back in. It's like there's no such thing.
This is just
benevolent dictators don't work. Yeah, it is.
Right. Like this doesn't make any sense. And so, Piper gives she's on her phone. She has a new hiding place in the library, which, by the way, I don't know why she told anyone, even Alex or Stella.
Right.
She shouldn't have told anyone where she kept this phone.
Trust no.
Right. But I also get it too. This is someone that she, quote unquote, cared about. I feel like it was a given that she was going to tell somebody. So,
or if she did, it should have just been one person. Period.
Right.
One.
But
person.
It would have been one of those girls.
Right.
So.
And so, she's trying to put her books away, and of course, Flocka catches her. I at that point was like, "Ooh, Flocka is definitely like doing what exactly Alex said,
right?
Which is she's trying to get back in your good graces so she can screw you over." That's what I felt. I think they set it up perfectly.
Yeah, they did set it, especially that look that Flocka gives her when she walks away.
They did.
Turns out she wasn't.
Yeah, and they did, but I didn't think she was either. I really didn't. So
you're always so much smarter than us.
No.
Yeah, I agree with whatever Scott says.
No, right? But no, because I think that would have been the easy way of doing that.
Right.
And I was like, okay, she really does have a sick mom. She really is going through this, and she's not a bad kid.
Right.
She really isn't. I mean, we saw from her flashbacks and everything, she's creative.
She didn't even mean to do anything.
Yeah,
right.
she's not a bad kid, so she's not going to be in that way. I didn't take it as that. It was going to be her.
You're so smart. You're so smart. All right, so then we also see that in this whole shebang that Flocka goes to, I guess, a chapel to pray for her mother, and she talks to Gloria, and Gloria is kind of like, nobody has your back. You think that, you're better than anybody. You think you don't need anyone. And when Piper comes in, she immediately switches into, if you have a problem with Flocka, you got a problem with me.
Right, exactly.
And that was really, really sweet what she did because, she didn't have to do that. She just went on this tirade about how we're not cool like that. We're not cool like that, Flocka. Sorry.
Right.
And she is.
And she defended her. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're still family and...
Right.
In the prison.
They're part of the kitchen crew that, they have each other's back. Yeah, they have each other's back,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was I really did like that moment.
And then let's talk about Stella and Piper.
Yeah.
So they're kind of an item now, I guess, even though she's getting ready to leave in a couple of days. And this tattoo, which I was like, this is so innovative. Can you really make?
I know.
I don't think that can't be real.
I was so impressed by that too. Like
But where did she get? What do you do with the white ink? Where'd she get that from?
And the Discman.
What's the white ink from? Was that whiteout? What is it?
Oh God, I hope now. I don't. Yeah.
Poisonous stuff.
I know.
You get white.
Gonna get gangrene on her arm. She's gonna have it chopped off. But I mean, it was this crazy innovative, like with that Discman and with the needle, and
then every time she hit it, like worked.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I want to do that. Somebody's going to make that.
Yeah.
Watch. We should probably Google to see if anyone has made their own little tattoo.
Yeah. So we could just self-tat each other.
And so she lets Stella choose whatever the tattoo is, which is Trust No B.
Yeah, which is not the best.
That is like the most ghetto tattoo.
Yeah.
Piper, really?
And then put it right on your forearm.
Right. I mean, not that you can really see it.
No, but it's enough to where you could, where it's.
That's what you want on your body?
And it gives Piper that extra little feeling that she's actually a badass.
Yeah.
That she doesn't
Trust No B on your arm, really? That was a bit much. But then we realized that Stella's the one that stole her money. That blindsided me. I didn't even think that it was
felt
Stella.
really random to me, but I guess at the same time, I feel like she would have waited until like the day she's getting out.
Yeah, I would have thought she would have waited until she was out, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, because
did she not know that? You know,
but maybe she felt. Well, maybe she felt like, okay, I have to seize my opportunity, because what if the day comes that I get out and I end up getting out early and I haven't had a chance to go to the library to get the phone and get all the money transferred to myself.
And then also like taking out all the money too. I would have been like, I'll take a little bit, so it's not as obvious, and not leaving it to zero. Like I wouldn't have taken the whole thing out. I would just a little bit here and there. And
of course, the reason why Piper even knows this is because Cal comes to tell her.
Yeah.
And I love when Cal comes. I love Cal.
Oh, I do too.
And he of course tells her about the whole, Neri making these fake stinky undies, and of course that someone stole the money.
Yeah.
I love him, and I'm so glad they had more of him this season.
I am too.
And I'm glad that he's being honest with Piper about everything that's happening.
Right.
Yeah, I'm too.
Because they could just easily,
He didn't have to tell her. She wouldn't have known the difference.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and has the great comedic lines too. Out of everybody, he's like the Jackie on Roseanne. Like he's always the one that has those fun lines that is going to, and basically has the best lines of everybody on the whole show.
And then of course, as they're having a little tit for tat issue between Stella and Piper, the other girls see this. The other panty wearing girls that work in the sweatshop see this, and I feel like there's going to be an uprising.
I think there will be. They're noticing that she's not as strong as she's trying to make herself to be.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well, and I also think it kind of goes back to earlier episodes when they started getting smarter and realizing, like, wait a minute, she's breaking all the money and we're just getting the flavor package.
Right.
It's sort of like they're going to start realizing, okay, we can kind of get in on this too.
Right.
They're letting her get away with it just because that's her girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now that you see what Piper does to Stella, that might send a message, though. So
that might send a message. And what she actually did was she set her up.
Right.
She put all the things that she found in these hiding places. So the Jolly Rancher shank, a chicken leg. Where did the chicken leg come from?
Where did you get illegal chicken?
That was hilarious. Illegal chicken.
I
did too.
Like, no, you should have eaten that illegal chicken. You don't get chicken these days.
No,
you gotta
you get
eat
slop.
that. Right. She put a lighter. She put the screwdriver, everything in her bunk. And of course, Stella's crying because Stella's like, wait, I'm about to leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is
dirty
you don't do
move.
that. Like, that's like somebody will kill you in prison. That's how people get in fights and get killed in prison.
Look
now
at what
Stella's going to Max.
Right, and look at what she's done now. It's like she basically brought Alex in, and now she's done it again with Stella.
Right.
It's like,
and then of course she tells Boo, let the people know.
Again.
Let the people know. And Boo was like, dang, that was pretty hard.
It was pretty ballsy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This new Piper's about something's. She's not gonna be able to get away with all this stuff.
No.
And while we're talking about Alex, we also have to talk about the fact that she's with Lolly in the line, and Lolly's like, all these new COs they got around here, and they got a toothpick CO. Like when she said that, I was
ridiculous.
like, why is that important?
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, something's up with the new CO, and we find out it's Aiden. He's one of the guys that worked for Kubra. He's now back in the prison. So you were right, Scott, I must give you your props. Lolly is not Kubra's plant.
No.
Good job. I still thought it to the end.
I agreed with Scott on that one, actually.
Okay, you too, Sterling.
I did.
I'll give you props by way of Scott.
Thank you.
I'll give you props for
Scott's
that.
always right. I'm going to write this one time.
But again, something else left.
But at least Lolly's
there.
observant.
But she's probably going to die, right? She has to die. She's in the greenhouse with this man. All of the COs are gone.
I know. I mean, that's the thing is like we have
no idea.
We have no idea because again, we never saw. So no body, Right. That's the old standby. And then if you don't see a body, then they're still alive. But I mean, we have so many things that are just left open. Mm-hmm. No idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we're just left with, you don't have to do this. And he's like, yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then scene change.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well,
guess I'll have to wait another year.
Yeah.
And then Piper's self-tattoo, like, she's really going through this. I mean, from the first season all the way up until now, we've seen, like, totally different change in Piper.
Right.
We're seeing all these layers to her, and for the fact that she didn't she went from like being a waspy girl with no tattoos, now she's got 2 in like a couple days.
Yeah, and the other one is like her self-infinity tattoo that she's making herself right under her breast. Yeah, that's painful. Yeah,
it's like your ribs. That's what I've heard. That's like,
and it looks like she was doing it with black ink. So
my goodness,
yeah, just mixing it up. You know,
she's a G. Yo, Piper's a G for real.
You're like just mixing it up. Yeah, I mean, she kind of seemed crazy. I mean, that to me was like crazy. It was like watching her become crazy because there she is, like getting herself a self tat and like the infinity symbol. Like, I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to do this, and it's like, okay,
she is going crazy.
A little scary now.
She doesn't have anyone now.
Right.
A little scary.
I don't like how prison has made her tough. I don't like this toughness.
It's not even it's like crazy. It's like crazy tough.
But that's what I'm saying. Like normal. Some other people, like they're tough, but they're, I guess because they had to be tough early in life.
Early in life, and they had type of situations where they grew up in situations where they didn't have that.
I feel like Piper is doing what she thinks she needs to do based off of like what she's seen in movies or something.
Right.
Like she's doing stuff like that you see in movies.
It's sort of like what we were saying. It's sort of like she was playing a game, like you were saying earlier, but now it's getting to the point to where it's beyond the game now. She's kind of believing her own delusions, and that's why I'm saying it's almost like getting crazy now, where she actually believes she is this benevolent dictator, crazy, like, gangsta, thing, to where she's believing it, that is true.
And she's going to get a whole bunch of time behind it, because that's what happens to real boss, dictators, drug lords. That's what happens.
You're going to take that fall. It gets to be a very far fall. Higher you go.
So let's talk about what happens with the COs and Caputo. Deborah Battle on Twitter said the main villain for this season was the new system of the privatized prisons, which is true when you think about it.
It is true if you want to take it as a character, and it is true because a lot of things change, but again, we still haven't seen that wrap up either. It's not like a V character or something else where we're watching them at the end and they close it up and they move on. And then that was. But I appreciate what she says there, because it is like its own character.
Right. And I was like, that's a good idea.
A location in a lot of ways can be their own character, and it is. But that's could be the main thread. Mm-hmm. But still, nothing was really tied up.
Right.
The last episode.
So we see that Caputo and Danny Pearson are in a car going to have a meeting with his father, and he's like, he's manipulative. Watch out. He's really good at this. Be careful. And Mr. Pearson, we find out, is a very masterful negotiator. I love how he's doing business with them at the country club. Yeah. They're sniffing.
They're nosing their whiskey.
Nosing the whiskey.
Yeah.
There's an art to this, and I'm like, this is how you're supposed to do business. Okay.
Yeah. I'm all about it.
Down with that.
I'm down with that too.
I'm happy to learn, these tricks.
I'm happy to do that in the middle of a work day anytime.
Right. Nosing that this is, multi-million-dollar deals are made at the country club, and apparently this is how they are. You drink a little bit, you talk about how to drink and all this stuff. So as he's going through, this is how you do business. Of course, Danny's like, no, let's get to the point. You gotta let Brissette out of shoe.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, cha-cha-cha, Brissette out of shoe.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is, but his father's like, wait, that's not what I, like, pay attention. I'm showing you what you should be doing. Mm-hmm. Right. You should be starting off with telling me about how you save the prison money, how you did this, and all of these things that you did, so that way you kind of lessen the blow. You can't just start off with what you want. Gotta ease the fun.
Which is true, but he's had to put up with so much BS from them that it's just like, we need to get to the point right now.
Right. But I'm saying Mr. Pearson is like, that's why Danny is like, you know what, my father is so good at this, you gotta be careful. But he's right. Yeah. Take a note from your father. You might actually get what you want.
Yeah.
And so he quits.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either.
I don't think he wanted the job in the first place.
True.
So I don't think that.
No, but kind of learning to get what you want. On that whole tack there, we see that's what Caputo's ended up doing now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
From starting out from that scene with him with Fig and their usual hookup sessions.
Disgusting.
And she basically tells him, you've been too nice.
Scarred for life.
You're the welcome mat. Everyone's walking over you. Right. It's finally time for you to take advantage and take your own. And you see that.
What she needs to hear.
But now he's taking it to the other extreme.
Right.
That
so
we
now
saw.
he is the man.
He's part of the man. Exactly.
He is the man.
And now he's the man because he got Danny's job. He got the huge pay increase, and you see the way he treats now the COs. He doesn't. He's acting like he doesn't care. Mm-hmm. And then so they walk. I mean, so you're opening the door to so many things now of what's going to happen in season 4.
You know what? I I love that the COs were like, you know what? You're right. This person needs us more than we need them.
Right.
Yeah.
We're out. And they left. And I was like, you better do it, guys.
Yeah. I was really happy that they walked out.
I did too.
Actually.
I did too. But you see what happens now that he went the other direction and he went too far. The other
He went
way.
too far.
Well, he said, we don't need you.
Yeah.
And they
Right.
said, well, I think you need us today.
Yeah,
and they just walked out.
Right. And this is the worst day that they could have left because what happens? This is the day they were fixing the hole in the fence.
Yeah.
You remember the hole that the chicken ran through?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the day they're fixing
And
it.
where the oranges and
where the
everything.
oranges are.
Yeah.
And there's no COs to keep the women in.
Right.
And I love how like Norma sees it and just takes off running, and everyone's like, "Why is she running?"
Well, at first I didn't realize that there wasn't an escape that way, like just because of the lake and everything. I mean, I guess they could swim across it or whatever, but there's no real risk of them, really going very far.
Right. Which is why that's what I thought. I was like, are they gonna swim past?
they're
But
gonna
maybe
be
the
there.
lake is huge. Maybe it's that huge. I think I probably still would have tried to chance it, guys.
I probably would have too.
I can swim. I
Stay out
probably
there,
would
I can
just
hold my
kept
breath and just go for
I know,
it.
right?
All right, and then so yeah, we see that a few things happen when the women go free in the lake. So and Pusey are friends. She has a new friend. She has a new clique.
I think more than friends.
Yeah,
More than friends,
More
perhaps.
closer friends. Yeah, it looked like there was a very closeness, and I love that whole scene, the way it was shot with the water and them floating. You see that Black Cindy gets her mitzvah.
Yes,
Great.
She's now a full Jew. Aleda and Daya make up. They're hugging. It was such a touching moment. There's the chicken fight. The girls are splashing each other, and
Which kind of reminded me of when Pennsatucky was acting like an animal when she was with Coates. So it's kind of like she does that.
She's a very good animal impressions. Apparently,
Yeah, that's hilarious. And Red and Eden has that moment with Norma.
They've made up, and Crazy Eyes, Suzanne and Daisy.
Yeah, which was great.
Which is I was like, wait, y'all playing
Daisy?
Catch with the Turtle? Yeah, it's Daisy.
Okay, I call her Sunflower.
Yeah.
Is it
Maureen?
No.
I don't know. Marine, that's it. That's a Daisy.
I was like, what?
I thought I called her Sunflower because
Marine.
she said something about Sunflower.
My bad, Marine. So yeah, Marine
And that was cute.
It was cute, but I was like, wait, I'm confused. You're playing Catch with the Turtle. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, it's a little weird.
It's more like
Suzanne, you're
Fetch
weird.
with the turtle.
Right. Fetch with the turtle. And so yeah, So and it was, to me, I was like, I loved how everyone had their moment together and they were happy about it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is going to happen for season 4?
Well, it was crazy. You watched the last scene before it faded to orange was all these new girls coming in on the bus and they're playing Foreigner in the background. But look, we left.
And there's bunk beds instead of the single beds.
Yeah, so more people are coming in, which is more profits for the bigger parent company. But look, you didn't get any resolution with Pennsatucky and Coates. You didn't get any resolution with some of the other characters. Healy and his wife.
Right.
I don't know. Are Healy and Red gonna have something now because there was sort of that moment?
But he did get his Olive Garden.
He did get his Olive Garden from that's what I'm saying. There's all these things. Again, we don't know what's gonna happen with the baby. What's gonna happen with Daya? What's gonna happen with Bennett?
Right.
What's going to happen now with the COs and Caputo and
or if Alex is alive.
Is Alex alive? I mean,
all these questions
and more.
All these questions.
Piper the badass, like what's happening with the Panty Empire?
I bet Piper
Stella
will end up going to Max.
See, oh gosh, okay.
And what's happening with not Gloria, Sophia,
yeah. So let us know what you guys think. Make sure that we've got another year. We've got another year before we get to see season 4.
No.
All these things.
Yeah, make sure you guys post.
Gonna happen.
Let us know, what do you think is going to happen with these different characters? We want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, we want to know your theories because it's fascinating to know because I have no idea how they're going to start a season 4 with this.
So use the hashtag ABTVOITNB on Twitter, on YouTube. Follow us on iTunes and SoundCloud because we want to hear all of your thoughts. Where can we find you guys?
Oh, well, you can find me on Twitter at SMan80, that's SMan80, and also here for the Defiance After Shows.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates.
And you can find me, Megan Thomas, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Meg Scoop. And check me out on Black Hollywood Live, which is our sister station. I do a show called Next. It's awesome. Check it out. Until next season,
next
guys,
year! I know, until 2016!
Wow,
Bye!
that's crazy.
I know.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.